guys, this week I'm very excited to film this video because I got a new bookshelf! Isn't that exciting? So I reorganized this one, the bottom shelf are books that I need to read, and then this bookshelf is going to get filled, it's just not yet because, I bought a bookshelf so I could fill it up, and that's how these things work. So this week's video is going to be a book haul, but first I would like to introduce you to one of my best friends that helped me put up this bookshelf. Her name is Dana. I'm going to put in a time-lapse video around, okay, you can't even, it was actually Dana's great idea to put in a time-lapse video, and this, it's gonna go right here. And this is just us putting together the bookshelf. The memory card died, and then the battery died, and so, a lot of things went wrong, but this is us putting together the bookshelf. But I wasn't smart enough to actually show us putting up the bookshelf, if that makes sense. This is just us building it.
Just now got the feeling that I'm leaving for the first time.
They say we are what we are, but we don't have to be. I'm bad behavior, but I do it in the best way. I'll be the watcher of it.
So first in this week's video, I'm going to talk about how I went to Barnes & Noble's Bee-Fest. It was a little teen book confession, not confession, what's the word? Book con, like a book convention that they had going on. And basically they just had different authors going to different locations and you got to meet the authors and get books signed. You also got to get some samples of from books. I'm actually not exactly sure which book this is, but you got some really cool samples of some books. I got quite a few because they were all free. This was a new book by Sarah Shepard, who wrote the Pretty Little Liars series. This one is The Fever Code. It's the sequel to the prequel of The Maze Runner. So The Kill Order, which is down here, it's a sequel to the prequel, if that makes sense. So I feel like that's really cool. This I just got a copy because my friend really likes the series, and so I got her a book. This is The Tales of the Peculiar by Ransom Riggs. I haven't read this series, but it was a free advanced reading copy. So, I got it. The next one is The Call, 3 Minutes to Save Your Life. I have absolutely no idea what this is. It looks terrifying. I'm really not great with scary books, but we're gonna read it anyways. This is Carve the Mark by Veronica Roth, who wrote the Divergent trilogy. I know that we all have a lot of issues with Allegiant, but I'm still excited to read this. It looks really good. This is an exclusive sneak peek sampler of The Diabolic, and it's like sci-fi with space and plagues. I don't know. It sounds cool. I did a horrible job explaining that. All I know is that it's in space, and that makes me want to read it enough. This book is Something in Between. It includes the first 8 chapters by Melissa De La Cruz. It's from 17, and I looked at 17 when I was like 15, and then I didn't actually look at 17 when I was 17. So the irony. I don't know. I'm excited to look into this book because I don't know what it's about, so I think it'd be a good idea to see if I like it before actually buying the book, which is never my strong suit. I'm going to be honest, I have no idea what this is. This is Epic Reads, and it was, this whole thing was sponsored by Penguin Random House, and so this kind of has cool interviews with authors, new looks at new books, maps, quizzes. I don't know, it's just like a fun activity book, and I'm a sucker for activity books. This isn't actually really anything at all, it's just Los Angeles fancy covering, and then an exclusive excerpt from Lord of Shadows, which is the second book to Lady Midnight. I actually can't wait for this book. I think I may die when I get it in my hands. This was a free pamphlet. I grabbed everything free. It was free, that's what you do.
You can download excerpts.
You can download excerpts. Okay, so I got this because I have been told by my freshman year algebra teacher to read this series, and I never did, and I think this shows you the order that the series goes in, and I know that Goodreads does this too, but now I can use this as a bookmark and also know what series this series goes in. This was a cute little free bookmark, and it has the Star-Touched Queen on it, and I've heard that book was good. So that's why I got it. This is Strange the Dreamer. It's just the prologue. I don't even know if it's the entire prologue, but she's the one that wrote Daughter of Smoke and Bone, which is another series that I haven't read. So I got a lot of things from authors that I haven't read, but I'm still excited to read them. Oh, it says Daughter of Smoke and Bone on here.
Good job.
Oops. So I'm just excited to read it, so I got it. And lastly for this little part, this is just, you choose the cover. So Alex Approximately is a new book that's coming out, and you can scan this and then vote on the new cover that's coming out. I also got this at B-Fest. You had a little like trivia and quiz game going on, and I got the most points, so I got a tote bag. And it's called First in Line by Penguin Random House, and then on the back it says, I read blank before you did. Isn't that cool? So we're gonna go ahead and get into the actual book haul book version of this video. This was a great month for books, mainly because I graduated and so I got a lot of book gift cards. So the first book that I got is The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. I already have it, obviously.
So he's a bit of a fixer-upper.
And her bookshelf fell.
The book's okay! We're back again. So the next book that I got at Half Price Bookstore is Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Ultimate Guide. And I think I had this at some point. Actually, I know that I did, but I lost it to a hurricane. So we got it again because I need to complete my collection. So this next book that I got is actually one of the authors that I met at the B-Fest at Barnes & Noble. Her name was Becky Wallace, and she was the sweetest person on the earth. I want to be her best friend, and I got this book signed by her. I can find it somewhere. There it is. Got it signed. She even had like a cute little spot on the book for her to sign it. I thought that was really cool. And then I got a map of the world that it was set in and a little bookmark. So the inspiration for this book came because her daughter's like in this phase of watching Sleeping Beauty again and again and again. And she realized Sleeping Beauty was raised by 3 fairies that can't really do anything without magic. And so she knows that like Sleeping Beauty doesn't know much, but if a random guy walked up to you at the forest and started dancing with you, like you wouldn't just dance with him. And so she like asked the crowd, she was like, hey, what would you do if a random guy danced with you in the forest and someone was like, I punch him in the face? And she was like, that's right. You would punch him in the face. And so this book is based off of what if Sleeping Beauty was trained in a circus and she knew how to defend herself and a random guy came up to her in the forest and she punched him in the face instead of dancing with him. And that's where the inspiration for this book come from. And then this is the second book, I've dropped it, in the series. It's just a duology, and so the entire story gets wrapped up in this series, and I'm very, very excited to get into these series, because it actually sounds really interesting. I'm happy. It's called The Keeper's Chronicles, if you're interested. This is another little thing that I got for asking questions at B-Fest. So it's just like a little Wayfair journal. And I actually just finished reading Passenger, and it was absolutely incredible, and I need the next book right now. So the next author that I met at B-Fest was on Saturday, and she wrote The Truth About Alice. I already read this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It was a fast read, but it was an entertaining fast read, and I feel like it's just an important book to read because it kind of just taught you a lot about how other people think and that you don't always know the entire story. And so the synopsis of this book is that there is a girl and she's just bullied terribly and she has a bathroom stall and people just write awful things about her in the bathroom stall and everybody shows their opinions on her, but no one but the reader really knows the truth about Alice. So I just thought that was a very entertaining synopsis. The book was actually based off of an article that she read, and she actually met the person that the article was based off of in real life, and she loved the book, so that's just a cool little tie-in. She also wrote Devoted, and this is just a story about a girl who's raised in a very Christian-based family, and she wants to find God. She just doesn't necessarily like the way that her family is forcing her to go about it, and so she tries to find God, but on her own journey, and it's kind of a coming-of-age story, and I haven't read very many of those, so I'm excited to read this and see a coming-of-age story, because I haven't read one of those in a very long time. This book is Kisses and Curses, and it has a story by Jennifer Mathieu. I'm going to pronounce her name wrong, I'm so sorry. And she's the one that wrote The Truth About Alice and Devoted. And this mini story in here is kind of set off a character from a spin-off of The Truth About Alice. And so this book has Marissa Meyer, Anne Lee Bardugo, and many other authors. Oh, and also Marie Rutowski. And it's just a collection of novellas and short stories all set into one book. And so I'm excited to get into this one because I also already read Marissa Meyer and all of Lee Bardugo's books, so we're excited about this. Jennifer Mathieu also gave out little stickers and bookmarks and just cute little pamphlets about her new book that's coming out afterward. So this book is based off a news story that she saw, and it was about a little boy that was abducted, and once they found the little boy, they also found him with another little boy that had been abducted, but he was much older now. He had been there for a couple of years. And so it's just a story about how his sister is trying to find out what happened to him, but to find out what happened to her little brother, she has to talk to the older guy who had been abducted years before because her little brother has a mental illness and can't pronounce necessarily what happened to him, and so she's trying to find out what happened to him through the other boy, and it's not a romance story at all, which I'm very happy about. It's just a story about two people that become really good friends from a really bad situation, and I'm excited to read it. So these are the two other little pins that I got from asking a question. They're just little diabolic pins. Oh, they're cute. So this next book that I got is one that I got at Barnes & Noble, and this is The Hawkweed Prophecy. It's an advanced reader's copy. This comes out September 6th, and basically I'm obsessed with Manon Blackbeak from the Throne of Glass series, and this has a witch in it, and that's why I got it. Also just because I've never had an ARC before, and I was very excited to get an ARC, and so because I had the most points in one of the sections in the quiz, I got to pick out my gift, and I picked out this. Also, the cover is really cool. The author is about to get her PhD, and she's just an absolute genius in biblical studies and, like, the first ever language created. I don't know. She's a genius, and she was hilarious. I loved hearing her story and her inspiration. And so this book is based off of, like, one girl who has the Lilith Scroll, and she has 13 different clans, and there's going to be 13 books in the series, I believe. So I'm just excited to know, like, if each book is going to be one of each of the clans. This postcard is the title of this book written in the first ever language known to man. And I think that's really interesting. And there's also this poster that she was handing out that was signed, and it's the first ever language, and I don't know, she signed it. It was cool. I need to find somewhere to put this poster because I'm out of space for everything. This is the last author that I met, Sharon Rose Mays, and she was so sweet. She also wrote a cute little message and bookmarks for her series. I believe this is just a duology. I could be wrong. I would look it up on Goodreads just to clarify, but I haven't read a paranormal romance book in a really long time, and this seems like a very quick read. And so I feel like I should get back into the paranormal romance genre, and so this is going to be my segue into that. The last thing that I got at Barnes & Noble's Beef Fest is this beautiful poster, and it's called The Bone Witch. And I don't know, it comes March 2017, and I truly know nothing about this book. I just know that the poster was beautiful, and so I got it. This book I got off of Amazon, and it is The Princess Saves Herself in this one by Amanda Lovelace, and then on the back it says, the story of a princess turned damsel turned queen. This just is like right up my alley. I've never read a really pretty poem book before, but just the title itself just makes me feel like this is the book for me. So the next book that I also got off of Amazon, and that is Greek Gods. Technically by Percy Jackson, technically by Rick Riordan, but I just feel like this is a really good summer book, you know? And lastly off of Amazon, I got Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I finally did it. I finally own... Why are you laughing at me? I've just been informed that I was saying the title wrong, that it's pronounced Azkaban. But then it sounds like I'm saying a bad word. And it also has a Z, so I'm just going to continue pronouncing it Azkaban. So, I finally got Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I'm very excited to finally read the series, because I finally own the entire series now, but there's still no promise when I'm actually going to read it. So sorry about that, but I own the whole series now, if that counts for anything. So this next book that I got is, I believe, the second book in the Fallen Kingdom series, and that's Rebel Spring. I wanted to read this next, after I finish Queen of the Tearling, but now I don't know what I'm going to read next. But if I read this, I have the second book and the third book. So I feel like that's a pretty good head start on being absolutely prepared for what we have going on. So this next series that I got seems really cool, so Dana and I are going to try to show it in a really cool way. So the first book is The Winter's Curse by Marie Rutowski, and I actually wasn't too excited about this series when I first heard about, but lately it's been getting a lot of really good reviews, and the last book finally came out, so I like reading books once all the books are out, because then I don't have to wait. So the second book in this series is The Winter's Crime, but also by Marie Rutowski for obvious reasons. And she's just wearing a really pretty dress and crimped hair and a sword, and she looks pretty bad, if you know what I mean. I don't cuss, and it kind of ruins my life a little bit. So the last book in the series just came out, and that is The Winter's Kiss, and she has a beautiful red dress with a sword. And I've heard that this isn't fitting her character, but I don't know her character yet, so I couldn't care less, if I'm being quite honest. Got is a half-price bookstore tote bag, and I could tell you the entire story about this, but that would take too long. I'm going to tell a short version. So the cashier said that I could get a tote bag, and it was a gift card, so I wasn't going to be spending my own money anyways. And so I was like, sure, why not? What do they say? And so she read off all of the tote bags, and when she said, get a spine, I actually laughed out loud, with my friend at like 9:30 at night right before they closed. And so, I don't know, it just seems great. Get a spine. So those are all of my books and bookish goodies that I got, along with an entire bookshelf, which I'm still not over. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and that you have a great day or night or whatever time it is wherever you are. And lastly, I would like to apologize for this lighting. So I'm done now. I hope you enjoyed it and thank you for watching.